Well, good evening, folks. It's Monday and it's Airfix and Chill Night. Good evening, panel. Who's on tonight? We've got Luke and James and Miss Modler and John Alec and Rorex, and we've got John as well. Avon Scale Model Show was on Sunday. I know there was something happening in Duxford as well. I think there was a hurricane exhibition happening up there, which Airfix attended. But at Avon, Revell was there with who I still call Researcher Luke, who's now in, I believe, in a guise at Revell, somewhat like Dale is at Airfix. So he's head of brand, but it's not for everything. It's to do with military and space, I believe. But they had this lovely display there this year in the foyer area of Avon Model Show, and we were able to go up there and have a chat with them. And it's just, actually, they've got some nice tooling coming out this year. They've done quite a bit with the Mandalorian. They've got a submarine that I picked up, which was announced a while back, and that came out this month, I believe. I was able to pick it up for 20 quid. I was quite impressed with it, but I just feel that we need to talk about Revell this time. We've not really chatted about them for a while on this Airfix and Chill. I'm trying to remember the last things I built from Revell. One of them was an airliner, and I think it was the Airbus 321 Neo, which I thought was a pretty good build, to be fair. But we'll put it out there first. Who's built Revell this year on their workbench?
Yes.
I did.
What did you build, Rorex? What is it? A modern tooling or an old tooling?
Old tooling. I'm still building it as well. Skyraider.
Oh, the Skyraider.
Yeah,
that's an old tool as well, isn't it?
Well, it could be worse. And I'm building Revell Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
The old tool and the slightly newer tool.
That's quite nice, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, let me show. Yeah, my workbench is a little bit full.
And they're all Revell, aren't they? But you're in Holland, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'm in the Netherlands.
Revell's quite predominant over your way, though, isn't it?
I don't know. I see on the local Craigslist stuff. It's mostly Airfix, I think, but I think it's quite even.
Even. What have you built then, Luke, this year from Revell?
I built. It's on the channel. Bear with me a second, and I'll show you exactly what it is. So I used their Star Wars snow speeders. Can you see that? Yeah. And put them in a diorama, and they're brilliant. They're really good little kits, and they're about £7.50 each.
Yeah.
So what's not to like for less than a tenner? Do you know
exactly.
What's not to like?
When did they release them? Then they've been around for a few years, mind.
Yeah, they've been around for a while, mate. They've been around for a while, and they just lend themselves because of the scale. I think they're like 187 scale. So they lend themselves to be able to put them in the diorama, and you don't need too much space. Yeah, really, really good.
Fair play. Dan Usher's built the Revell Fokker DR1 triplane. That isn't an easy build, though, is it? Is that 1/72nd scale?
It's tiny.
It's tiny, isn't it? It's not
tiny.
Easy. Did you do the rigging as well, Dan?
It's not any rigging.
Pardon?
There's not any rigging on it.
No. You always think that, though, don't you? It's as I said, I had a conversation with Luke. Well, Luke contacted a lot of the creators with a list of questions asking us. Oh, that's all right, Rorex, isn't it? Yeah, that's Revell. That's quite tiny. Yeah. It is tiny, though, isn't it, for 1/72nd scale? But they were tiny, weren't they? They were. If they could be designed out of bones from a bird, they would have done it to keep the weight down, wouldn't they? Do you know what I mean? I've just finished the 1/72nd Eurofighter from Revell. How did that one go for you? I've always said that that's very much a Revell thing, isn't it? Where you got Airfix with Spitfire. Revell are very much into that Eurofighter, aren't they?
Yeah, I've built their 48th Eurofighter.
Were you impressed with that?
Not really.
No.
don't get me wrong. It turned out quite nice, but it's a lot of work. A lot of work.
Yeah.
To
Just
get it anywhere decent.
Yeah. See, Rorex is putting that fucker against that. What's he got there? Can't see what he's got there.
Is that the old DR1 tool or the new one?
It's the old one, and it's a C119.
That's a C119. Yeah.
Because I built a new tool, Revell one, and it's really nice.
Yeah. So what did you find bad about that Eurofighter then, Luke? Was it just a bit of a hard build? Was it not enough detail?
No, it's fairly well detailed, and obviously that's down to the modeler, isn't it? Whether you had aftermarket, etc., etc. But the fit isn't great, particularly around the air intakes, because obviously on a Eurofighter, the air intakes are underneath the nose at the front.
Yeah.
The fit where it goes into the wing roots with the air intakes is not great. That takes a lot of filling, rescribing, sanding, etc. But it's doable, and actually it turned out quite a nice build. But I certainly wouldn't recommend it to someone who's fairly new, because they'll throw it out the window. Do you know what I mean? It's frustrating.
Yeah, you know, as one of the viewers said, then it's showing its age, the tooling.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
But, yeah, I think you get your money's worth, and I think that was something that it was commented a lot about Revell back in the days, that they've overused their tooling. But then again,
that Eurofighter, they pop out in every scheme. It's the same tooling. You know, they might put a different set of ordnance in it or something, but it's the same kit, and they
sell it with a very expensive book. It's nice.
Very expensive.
So
I think they had that book on the stand. I think they had a book on the stand there, but I had a look at it. As I said, you know what they had there. They've got a Lightning coming out, Lightning 2 coming out, and they had like 3D modes of it. And I wish Nigel was on, because Nigel looked over it and he already saw a flaw in where the canopy goes on, and he came up with a suggestion for them. But if he comes on tonight, I've emailed him. He can explain what he said to them, because I think he was kick Moz in the knackers to wake him up. I'm not tired. We saw it, but it does look really nice. This, it was a 3D render of it, 3D print. And as I said, we had a really good chat with them, and we said that one of the things we found is that Revell a lot of the tooling, and we didn't know what the date was or the year of this manufacture of the tooling, and it's something they're looking into. Another thing I said is the side opening boxes. Revell side opening boxes do not store well. They're very, very weak. Another thing he said, which I thought was quite interesting, that I presume, even though it says made in Italy on the decal sheets, it's cartographed, which I didn't know. I thought, made in Italy, it could be anything in Italy. I know Italy do bring out a lot of.
Well, I remember according to Nigel, it is something. It's cartograph and someone else do the decals.
But they'll be now putting cartograph on the side of the boxes to say that it's a cartograph decal, which is a really good for anyone.
Yeah.
And I did say that, but then again, I believe there are two types of cartograph. I think sometimes, and I'm not saying this for some reason, Airfix cartograph ones work really, really well. Well, I think they're the best, actually. But then sometimes I've got a kit with a cartograph decal on, and it's been a bit tetchy. I think
it's like Nigel's had with his Wingnut Wings kit, his Eindecker.
Yeah,
he's had fun and games with. That's their cartograph decals. He's had fun and games with the decals.
And that Ford GT that I had, twice I bought that kit just to get the decals out, and they kept ripping at that one point with that gold strip by the bonnet. In the end, unfortunately, where it ripped to, I grabbed the two bits together, put them together, and then put the number on top of it to hide the rip, if you know what I mean, to get around it. Ian Carlin said, built Mavericks F-18E Super Hornet recently. Not too bad and enjoyed the build. Fair bit of scene work, though. But the other thing is, though, is that what I did praise Revell for is that when you do get a kit from them, there's never any. I've not come across any short shot on them. Can you think of a kit that you bought from Revell which had short shot?
No.
I had flash, but
flash is nothing because you can easily clean that up. You can't heat up plastic and make it fit. You know what I mean? And stretch it, can you? But I don't think I've ever had a short shot. And the one thing I said is that I was very impressed with the customer service. I bought a kit and I went and I pulled out everything. There was no decal sheet. So I emailed them that night and said, look, I've not got a decal sheet. And then they said, it's all right, it'll be in the post to you tomorrow or whenever. And then when I looked in the box and it got caught in the flap and at the bottom of the box. So we look, as I looked in the box, I couldn't see it. But then again, when I rattled it, it came out. Rang them and emailed them and say, look, I found it, don't send it. They've already sent it. They said, I'll just keep it for a spare. I couldn't knock it. They were very, very good. Biggest gripes with Revell, the massive boxes. But yeah, we've said that before, haven't we? It's that side opening box isn't brilliant. A top opening box is better for model kits. Because, well, have you built much Revell in the past? You built one the other week, didn't you? Can you build one? One of your videos?
I don't think I built one this year, but I have built quite a lot of Revell.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're just I guess some of the Tallery stuff, it's just some of it's really old and a bit jank.
Yeah.
And I think we've all got very used to nice Airfix kits, and even when they're re-releasing them, and even with Hella re-releasing them, being quite clearly marked as what year they're from, whereas Revell is still very higgledy-piggledy. But their newer kits are much nicer. I've not really ever had an issue with them though. I find the production quite good. The decals always seem to be fine, even in older kits. They're not the best, but they're fine. Instructions are of their era.
Yeah.
But they've got a lot better as well. I think that they do themselves. I find Revell do themselves a disservice, but I think they're getting a lot better.
Yeah. I think Luke's recce in between. Did he contact you, Miss Bodler, at all with his questions?
Not yet, but feel free.
No, yeah. He was going around asking people. I know he spoke to Alex at Man's Model Moments as well. When I think Matt from Model Minutes, he rang and it was on the phone for about an hour, and he had a load of questions. And one of the things he said was no exposure. We don't see you anywhere, and so that's why they've spent a lot of money and created this display. And they're going to go to a lot of model shows. In regards to their instructions, they're very, very good.
Yeah. The new ones are.
Yeah. Very cool. The older ones were very much hit and miss, but you can see the development. But you can say the same for Airfix. Their instructions can be a little bit hit and miss at times.
Well, never in the history of the colours have you got 4 different colours being mixed together.
No, that's a good shout. That.
So
I think the thing I like with Revell a lot, and this isn't to say other manufacturers don't do it, but I like less UK based stuff. I like quite a lot, and Revell do a lot of that. Especially obviously German stuff, but they also did is it the, I'm gonna get it wrong, was it the Breguet Atlantic 2? They did that in a lovely Italian scheme, and I really like just seeing different things. That's why I love Hella as well, because it's nice to get things that we don't see as much here. I think that's one thing Airfix has done well, is focus on stuff from here, and I wish Revell would like lean into that a bit more and do a lot more, I don't know, less mainstreamy subjects or stuff that's very much missing rather than a billion Eurofighters.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, it's just going down through the comments here. Steve L. I built the Revell 1/32 scale Mosquito recently. It was a rough fit on the engine cowlings and undercarriage. A lot of work. Wouldn't build that again. That's not. What's that? That's a 2002, isn't it? I thought they.
No, I think the Mosquito's a lot older than that, Moz.
Older than that. Well,
A
that's
lot older than
second, isn't it? Yeah. They've done a 148, which I hear has got good reviews.
My
Mosquito
brother
is
built
the
32nd
148 one's a new
Mosquito
one.
in the early 70s.
Might be early 70s. But that's another thing we mentioned is that they bring out those 1/32 scale kits, don't they? You know, some of them some really good ones.
Well, not being funny, something like the Bristol Beaufort at 1/32 scale is massive.
Yeah, it is.
And I think you have to. This is going to get me a lot of hate and be controversial, but you have to manage your expectations.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you buy the Revell 32nd Mosquito, I don't even know how much that is, but it's certainly not going to be Tamiya prices.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the time, I think for these manufacturers, they have to balance what they can put in the box in relation to the retail price.
Yeah.
Now, for example, if you want to build a Spitfire in 32nd scale, forget the new Airfix one for a second, but if you went to say Qatari, well, that's £100 kit. But you can buy a 32nd Revell Spitfire for £15.
Yeah.
It has lots of inaccuracies. The shape isn't quite right. The cockpit's not very detailed, etc., etc. But it's £15, not 100.
Yeah.
So you've got to. We're the world's worst critics as modelers. You know, we were talking very briefly before we went live about the Shannon lifeboat from Airfix.
Yeah.
Now that's £18, right? Yes, it's got its issues. Yes, there's issues with it, but it's £18, including the paint and glue. So you've got to manage your expectations. If Zukimura built out a Shannon class lifeboat, they'd be charging you £100+ for that kit.
Yeah.
Would it be better? Absolutely, it would. However, if you just want to build a representation of a Shannon class lifeboat and for less than £20 you can, there you go.
Yeah. Farsi Clock, 1/32 Mosquito is vile, cheap, and it shows. Yeah, I've just looked up scale mates. I thought it was a later kit than this, but 1971, ladies and gentlemen, they released that one. So it's a 50-year-old kit, 60-year-old kit. So my bad. I thought they didn't. I thought the 1/32 scale lot came out a lot later, and I thought the Mosquito was a lot later. But like Annette writes here, I've given up buying Revell kits. Never know if it's going to be okay or a pig of a kit. But then we have that situation with Airfix. We have that situation with Italeri sometimes, but that's why you know we do the unboxing and reviews. I know we're just showing you what's inside the box, but 9 times out of 10. You can visually look over those parts and, you know, you can see if there's inaccuracies or there's going to be problems.
It's very, very useful. I know people criticize content creators for doing unboxings and stuff, but as a modeler, it's a very useful tool before you commit to buying a kit. Yeah. Because they're going to identify any issues. You know what you're getting into. It's really useful. Really useful.
And if you've got somebody who's see, the trouble we have, as for me as a content creator, and doing these, I don't know every part of a plane. I don't know every part. My specialist subject is Bearcats and EE Lightnings because they're my favorite planes ever. Yeah. And I know what a Bearcat should look like, and you know, and when I say details a bit soft on the Hobby Boss one, if you put it next to side, you can see there's a lot more information that's missing than there is should be on the plastic. And with the E Lightning as well, that's, you know, I love the E Lightning, simple as. But then if I listen to Luke, who's in the army and basically road on a lot of these machines, you know exactly what he says is going to be true. So you have to take things with a pinch of salt. My grandmother always used to say to me, "You've got to suck out the honey and spit out the wax." So you hear the and so you. I know it's an old saying, but that's what he used to do. He used to get the honey.
And something that stuck with me, it was something you said, Moz, ages ago. And I think it was an Airfix designer that said it to you, is that any of these manufacturers, regardless of who they are, they're providing us as the modeler with a canvas.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what we choose to do with that kit is down to the individual modeler. For example, with that Shannon class lifeboat, I am going to super detail the interior. I'm going to scratch build everything on it and try and get it up to a standard that I'm happy with. None of that interior you will ever see once I've finished it. You just won't see it. But it's a challenge. Whereas someone else might just want to build it out the box. You've got a representation of a Shannon class lifeboat, put it on the slide stand, job done. The manufacturers have provided us with a canvas. That's all it is. What you choose to do with it after that is entirely down to you.
That was on your show, that was, Luke, because I said,
That's right,
I said, you know, you've got, you know, I think that was one of the biggest things I took from, I think it was Chris actually said it, is that as a designer, they don't give you a finished product. They get you to so far, and but also I'm going to lay it out. You know, a designer's a model builder or not sometimes by the choices they make and how a model goes together, and that's why I kind of think sometimes that they need to get hold of decent modelers and give them the kit before it goes into production and say, here's test pieces, build it for us, and we got 2 weeks to build it. Even if you don't get that far, build it and let us know what you think, and then you can write back and say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is brilliant, keep that in, and then go off. Because I think that's what you know, a lot of the others manufacturers do. You know, they push out a lot more of the test shots really and say, look, build this, tell you what you think. Then you won't get the kind of mistakes you get on some of these kits. But Luke,
I think it's like everything, isn't it? You know, every market, not just modeling. So cars is a classic example. If you can afford it and you go and buy a Bugatti, that's going to be far superior in every single way to a Kia. However, the Kia is a lot cheaper than the Bugatti. So every market, the manufacturer picks their sort of target audience, and then they build a product that target audience are going to purchase. Exactly. And modeling is no different. It's no different. Not everyone can go out and buy a Zukimura kit or a Qatari Spitfire or a Wingnut Wings kit or whatever. They can't afford it, so they're going to look at the cheaper end of the market, Revell, Airfix, Tamir, even in certain genres. But it's important as the modeler that at that point you've got to manage your expectation of what you're going to get in that box. Definitely.
Steve L says, Luke, you are correct. It was a cheap end kit, it's sub 30. So low expectations on that one, as it was an old reboxing.
And you know what you're getting into.
The Revell new tooled 132nd Hurricane was very reasonably priced. It was. You know, I think they do well with their 132nd. They need to release some more. You know, some of the older kits have been pretty good. Somebody wrote about the Revell. Is it the Revell? Where's it to? Can't see that now. The 2-seater Revell, one of the best kits I've built.
Quite hard to get hold of.
Quite
hard to get hold of. Their F-15 Strike Eagle, the bomb cap boxing, cracking kit in 48 scale, but you try and get hold of one now.
I think it's like the Lockheed Ventura. That was one of the last kits that Monogram produced before they went belly up. Kit's brilliant.
Adrian Hunter says, as someone who has to buy most models from abroad, unboxing vids are a godsend to me as it saves me from making costly decisions. I can see that very much, Lee. At least you know. Just going down through the comments here. The next Revell build I made was the 132nd Mark II Iron Maiden Spitfire, but Revell have really released some right dogs. You've done that one, haven't you, Luke?
Yeah, I have. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's completely inaccurate.
Yeah.
It's completely inaccurate as a Spitfire, but as a build, it's phenomenal. And it's essentially the same kit as their Mark II 32nd Spitfire, which you get for about 15 quid. It's just got different decals in it, basically.
Yeah.
You get like an Eddie figure and pilot. But the reason it's inaccurate is because they took the measurements scan for that kit from the inflatable stage prop that Iron Maiden used on their tour. So
it's a one-off. It's a one-off limited thing, then, is it?
Pretty much.
Wow.
But you know what? It looks like a Spitfire. Who cares? I'm not an aficionado. Do you know what I mean? It's a Spitfire and it's Iron Maiden. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know. But there are elements of the community that will go, oh, the nose shape is wrong and the wing shape is wrong. Ball off. I'm not interested. As a kit, as a build, it's fun. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. I met Stephen Haynes Models at the model show. So nice to meet you, my friend, and coming up and saying hello to me. It was really nice to meet somebody who watches Airfix. Well, quite a few come up and say hello to me, and which was really nice. So thanks for meeting up with me at Avon. Yeah, let me get you bigger screen in a minute.
It looks like a Spitfire, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, what, I wouldn't get upset about the nose shape is 2 degrees out.
Well, what was the serial on the side, the numbers and the letters? Sorry, what was ZDR? Any relation to Iron Maiden for that, or was that from?
I don't know. The only thing I changed on it. So if you look on the fuselage where it says 999,
yeah,
the kit tells you to have that as 666.
Yeah,
because it's Iron Maiden. But obviously because of my job, I just turned around and made it 999.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great build. There's nothing wrong with it.
I didn't realize, sometimes you look and you're like, yeah, it's all the sizes.
But that particular boxing is more expensive because it's Iron Maiden and you get the Eddie figures in it and you get the Iron Maiden decals. Well, that's going to attract a higher price. But the same kit, the same tooling, you can get for like 15, 16 quid.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want? Do you know what I mean?
Didn't they do an HE 111 in Iron Maiden colours as well?
That was the Motorhead Airfix.
Oh, it was Motorhead. You're right. Right. It was. Yeah.
Oh, they did a Motorhead big rig, didn't they? Revell.
Yeah.
It was released with an album, wasn't it?
They did a big airliner, didn't they? The Iron Maiden.
Yeah, the 747.
Yeah. And
they've done a Rammstein truck as well.
That's what I was trying to think of. Rammstein, teaching us German since they started Rammstein,
Rammstein.
Yeah. John Alec, just asking you, do you see a lot of Revell in America? Because I'm pretty sure, because they've got their own subsidy out there, haven't they? Is it called subsidy? I think the word I'm trying to think.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up building them. In my local shop, when I'm in there, there's a mix of, I say a mix, but it's predominantly the German, the German badged, the German boxed or whatever, German sourced Revell kits. And I think they've caught on that they're really good. So I don't have any hesitation when I see a relatively new German Revell kit. I've built a couple of them in the last, not within, probably it's been a year now since I built one, but I built a couple in the last few years and I've really enjoyed them. But yeah, no, they're all over the place. For us in the States, it was, you had Monogram and you had Revell. That was really it. You had ATM and MPC too, of course, but
Taggers has said in one of his comments here, I've got the Revell 135th Leopard 1 on my bench, 2015 tool. Decent, but other manufacturers are better. Yeah. But again, you pay for what you get. And I think that's another thing that I'll bring Airfix into this. They create models to a price point. So that's basically, and I think without going back, what Airfix have got vintage classics. Okay, now there's a lot of hate for vintage classics. You know the Belvedere that came out, and I called it, didn't I? 2 years ago, I said this one here. I did a review of the 192 Belvedere. I said, should they release it as a vintage classic? And they go and do it again. You know, they go and do it. I know it's a crap kit, okay? And that's why they're called vintage classics. What could Revell do? You know, they can't, because they've got a lot of Matchbox toolings, but they can't use, I don't think they can use the name Matchbox because that's still going in the diecast car side of things.
Yeah.
I think it's quite an easy fix for Revell, isn't it? Because a lot of the criticism they come in for is where the old Matchbox kit, they'll put it in a box and put some new decals in it and put new on the box. And then for the uninitiated that perhaps don't know about scale mates or whatever, they go into Hobbycraft, they see this shiny box with new on it, and then they get it home. It's crap.
Yeah.
With Airfix Vintage Classics, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
It's not going to be great. You know that because it's no tool. The only bonus is you're going to get a new decal sheet and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So you know what you're getting. Well, Revell can do something very similar. All their marketing team needs to do is come up with what they're going to call them.
Classic vintage, we reckon.
Classic vintage.
Leslie Legends.
Put that on the box. Design a box that differs from their new toolboxes.
Yeah.
Done. That's it. That's all they need to do, and that will eradicate a lot of the criticism that they.
To me, I don't think you even need to necessarily even go that far because, like, Heller's got a lot of old tools because they don't release anything anymore. But they started putting on just the year of release on the box, really clearly. I mean, their boxings are like miles ahead of Revell anyway, but like that makes it really clear like what you are buying and when it is from. And I don't really know the status of Hellas right now, so I don't really know like how far they got with that. But I know when I was buying them, at least last year, I think I bought like the Puma and that had it on. So presumably they're doing that to all their range. And to me, that's the main thing they should do.
But yeah, I've got the Hella one up here actually. Let's have a look, shall we? Hella. I've got the Airbus 320. The Airbus 320. Again, flappy box. Got to love a flappy box, haven't you? You know. Oh no, I love a flappy box. Just looking. There doesn't seem to be a date on this one.
There's no date on this one.
No date.
So they started to, and then clearly had not done it. Whereas,
to be fair, I've just finished this kit, and I've never built a Hella kit before.
So it should be at the back at the bottom.
Back at the
bottom.
So like, it depends, I guess, like when the release is, because I think some of the yellow ones don't have it, some of them do. So if there is anything, it's at the back at the bottom.
No, there's nothing on this.
I'm just looking for that.
When I open this box, no, it's not a great kit, obviously. I finished it, it looks all right. But you open the box and the sprues are wrapped in nice black tissue paper. You've got a door hanger that's in the box. Like, it just made me feel good. Do you know what I mean? Because it felt like a premium product, even though it isn't. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Let's have a look at this one. This is the latest Hella one I got because because apparently this is the most accurate Sherman in 1/72nd scale, which is the Hella one. Allegedly, that's the most accurate one out there. That's what I was told, so I bought it. And Has it got a date on it? No, it doesn't seem to have a date on this one.
So looking on their site, not all of them do. If you like, I've just shared my screen. You can see
Oh,
where
sorry, I'll
they
show you.
started doing it. So like, this is one I knew had it because I'd bought this.
Yeah.
But on the back here, original release 1991.
Okay.
I think that's what it says. And then it's when it was re-released. So they've got this on a few of them. So
Yeah.
like on the newest ones, I don't know if they have it on the newest ones because they're brand new.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
no,
do.
there we go. Like 1979.
And it's in like a shape of a sprue as well, isn't it?
So like for me, this is a good way of doing it because it makes it really, really clear.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. But I just thought, you got to remember that, I'm going to ask Dale to come on and do a private chat with me and talk about vintage classics and just what's the point in releasing like this one here? We all know, the glass is a two-piece and you've got to glue it together and it doesn't go well together. But why release it? And I think 9 times out of 10 people want it for nostalgia.
Yeah.
And they do upgrade the decals. They're cartograph decals in here. And I said, on this one here, the decals on this one's a very old box. In this one, the decals are just that. That's what you get. But in the new one, the decals are like this. Lots of stencil there, and you've got 2 schemes as well. And the instructions are a little bit better, but that's from an older, not an old releasing, but a later releasing. They've used the instructions on that. But you know what you're getting on the box, and it's class. It's actually class, which I didn't realize is a separate brand, because these Airfix class are not necessarily pre-Hornby ownership per se. Though most, of course, they're going to be, but it's all about whether they're CAD designed or not. That's what it's all about. If they're not CAD designed, they become a big deal. That's why I think that B1B Lancer that I've got to do a review and build to see what it's like, I think that will probably end up being a vintage classic because I don't think it was CAD designed. I think it was designed the old way.
It's old. That was pretty old boxing, isn't it? It's like 90s.
Yeah, they took over 96, wasn't it? Wasn't Hornby 96? Was it
Yeah,
like a cut-off date for their vintage classics? So if
no, that's what I'm saying. They've got the pre-Hornby era,
right?
Which I think was something in the chat. Remind me, was it 2006 or 96 when Airfix was bought by Hornby Hobbies?
2007, wasn't it?
I thought it was
2006, 7, I think.
2006, right?
Yeah.
So
2006.
Yeah. So you're looking now that, and Dale was saying this, and I've listened to Dale numerous times about this, but I want to get him on to do a proper video and just to go through the whole. If their class is a separate brand, because and it isn't because it's pre-Hornby per se. It's about whether it was designed in CAD or not.
Okay.
That tells you a lot, already.
Wasn't it also something to do with it had to be an Airfix tooling?
And a lot of them never came in the divorce. When the divorce happened, a lot of them was over because there's one tooling that Hella released last year or this year. It was actually first released as an Airfix tooling, but Hella
48th Jaguar, wasn't it?
Was it the Chevy Cat Jaguar?
It was a 48th Jaguar. I'm sure that happened.
Yeah.
Because Hella released it at the beginning of this year, didn't they?
Yeah.
But I always thought the vintage classics were pre-Borden Incorporated ownership, so everything had to be prior 1981.
No, vintage classics has to be before that cut-off point. Because you think about it, wasn't the beach buggy in the 80s? Which was the bomb?
70s kit that my brother built that. Yeah.
Trying to think of a kit that was released in the 80s.
The last 32nd scale kit that Airfix released was a Maserati Indy.
I've got that.
I think that came out in the mid 80s.
Was it the Indy or the Bora? Because I've got the Bora
The
here
Indy.
picked up.
The Bora is isn't that a different tool? A different company's tool.
So, but that logo will tell you all you need. 1980. This was 1980.
What
So that's
scale is that 24th?
That's a 136, isn't it? Does it say? Does it say, actually? What scale it is on the box? It's a Series 6 kit. Look at the instructions, man.
Should be
124th. Yeah, 124th.
It is 24th. I think
Yeah.
that's an AMT kit.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because they have quite a lot of kits coming through Borden Incorporated through AMT, and most of those 24 scale released kits were AMT tools.
Well, I'll be buggered.
But the Indy was definitely 32nd.
Yeah. Obviously the decals of yellow, as they call it.
Very
man.
yellow.
But yeah, I picked it up for 20 quid, or 15 quid actually, because there's the glass is scratched the buggery, so got to get that polished out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was, CAD software came into being in 1992.
Yeah.
But if you hear Dale speak, it doesn't necessarily say vintage classics were from pre-Hornby. He says they are pre-CAD.
Right.
So there may be tooling that was done in 1999 before Hornby.
Yeah, that might
took
not
it
have
up.
it.
Wouldn't necessarily be a vintage classic because it was CAD designed.
We are just waiting for that TSR2 to come out. That's
Well,
what
that'd
we're
be-
waiting for.
It'd be interesting to see if that does come out. But yeah, that's what I believe it to be. But as I said, I think there's a lot of history there with because a lot of the Matchbox stuff when it went pop. I know Revell got a lot of it, but they didn't want the Eastern access, or the evil access, as they call it, of the German stuff. Was it the German stuff, or was it went to Russia? I think, or was that Frog? I'm getting confused now.
Frog, wasn't it? Frog went to Russia.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
all of
it's there's loads of Novo and Eastern Express stuff, isn't there?
Some of it went to some of it went to Revell, the Frog stuff.
Well, some of the Frog stuff ended up in Airfix's range as well, believe it or not. So,
Did it really?
yeah.
I never knew that. I've never seen that on Scalemates, but there must be. I would have thought they would have been better off all that sort of stuff, where it was intermixed with AMT and Monogram and all that. They could bring out a vintage classic kind of range, so that you know what you're getting. That's how
During the 90s, when Revell did a lot of Matchbox marketing, they actually stuck a lot of PM kits into their boxes as well.
Yeah.
PM models.
Yeah.
Even Airfix released the TA154 Mosquito as well.
Yeah.
It was a PM kit.
My bet is on Revell releasing classics, but they'll spell classics with a K.
Yeah.
That's
a good
my
shout.
bet on it. And then they can do kit classic.
Yeah.
Just use the K. That's my bet what they'll do.
Yeah.
Some
The problem-
millennial out there like me is thinking that and going, oh, that's so quirky.
Wouldn't they have to stop releasing half their kit lists?
Hey, if it's well advertised, I don't care where it's from.
How old is that KI61 that they release? That's
Oh.
got to be 60 years old, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Is that the 1/72nd scale one? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a right dog. Really is.
1963.
Yeah, so that's 37 and 24, isn't it? That's only 60 year, isn't it? 61 year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a 50-year-old kit, isn't it?
Hmm.
No, 60-year-old kit.
60-year-old shit.
Yeah. Last time they released it was 2013, though.
Mhm.
But what would their years? What would their cut-off point be? Would they also go down the route of these kits were pre-CAD, and and the kits we've got in our Revell range are going to be CAD designed.
And would they be able to release Revell America as well?
I don't think so. I think they're completely separate legal entities as far
Are
as
they
Yeah,
still a separate company? I think they are, aren't they?
as far as I'm aware. Yeah, they've been separate for a while because there was a. I want to say F-15 that was released fairly recently, which is one of the few Revell America, whatever they actually are known as, but one of the few releases by Revell America that get aircraft, because it's mostly cars and trucks and stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff I don't know about.
There's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of tooling for cars that came over with the monogram range, wasn't there?
Mhm.
But like we keep discussing, what would be the cutoff point? Because I still think anything pre-2000 would make up classics, and then push the 2000 on. There's 25 years of tooling there that you could use and put new schemes with and everything. So, yeah, it's a headache to have, I guess. But when I was talking to him and I mentioned these things, it was like, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? And I think they are looking at, after Luke did his research, they realised there were some major factors in it that they need to address to move forwards. And actually, it's not about moving forward; it's about putting trust back into the brand, I think, as well, which is a good thing.
I think if you look at it from an optimistic point of view, so myself, for example, 5 years ago, I would avoid Airfix. Now, the last 3 kits I've built have been Airfix.
Yeah.
So maybe Revell are at that point that Airfix were 5-6 years ago. They get the right people in place, the right designers, the right marketing and everything else. Revell do some fantastic subjects that aren't mainstream. And if they go down that road and they produce good quality kits, then the future can only be good for them.
Exactly. I was thinking, why do I build a lot more Airfix than I do Revell? One, they do the subjects I'm interested in more than Revell do. And there's not a lot where I can go, oh, there's a Revell kit, there's an Airfix kit, it's the same thing. Which is best? I don't see that a lot. But it's because when I go and see the adverts, the pictures, everything, I get excited. But then again, this time I got excited by going to see because I heard about this Type 9 submarine, and I saw pictures online. That's going to look really good. When I saw it at the display stand at Avon, I thought I'm going to have to go and buy that now. And there was a shop, there was a store, there was a company there selling them for 20 quid. And after I left speaking to Luke and I'm really sorry, I can't think of the guy's name. I'm quite embarrassed. So I should have written it down. I went and bought the Type 9 because I saw it there all done up. And I think that's what you get a lot of Airfix. You see it come out. Mini art, even though I won't build mini art, I look at the box art they bring out and the CAD detail and stuff, and I get excited about that. And I don't see a lot of that coming from Revell yet. I'm on their WhatsApp group, and I get a ping every so often, but it's all in German. I got to translate it. You know what I mean?
They have Revell have their own podcast, and it's only in German. They're just I think it's awesome, but also I feel quite sad they don't do an English language version because it would be really nice.
Well, this is another thing which I didn't realise until Luke mentioned it. They haven't actually got an English website. It's Revell DE. You can't order from it.
Right.
So,
however, interestingly, they're really good for spares. I asked for a canopy and it just arrived 2 months later. When I say good, I don't mean fast. And the communication was kind of just, we've received it, you'll get it. and I did eventually get it. Kind of like Hella, I just randomly got it one day, but like that's nice, especially because it came from the mainland.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, they have got, because they, and also it's not Revell anymore, by the way. It's Carrera Revell. So if you look on the instructions here, there are the instructions. Was it the instructions they put it on? It does say Revell. Oh no, I think it's property of the company Carrera Revell, and it's on there on the decals as well. It's Carrera Revell. But they do have an office in the UK because Luke works out of it. But he does spend a lot of time going from Revell in Germany. He's flying over quite a bit to see them over in the head office there, and he's learning German. He's telling me, so Guten Tag, and all that,
I think
here's Nigel now. While we're there talking about Revell, here's Nigel now.
Oh, welcome, my friends.
I didn't want to tell him the story, but I'm glad you're on because they showed you the F-35 Lightning they're bringing out, didn't you? And you spotted an error. We didn't spot an error, but you gave them a workaround for a part, didn't you?
Yeah, what they've done is a silly mistake that we've all seen, and it's very, very difficult to get around. What they've done is the cockpit canopy, they've made a frame, and then the clear part glues into the frame. So therefore, where you glue is actually the edge of the glazing. So it's very, very, even if you use like clear glues, it's very, very difficult to get a nice join. So what I suggested, because they want this piece to go up inside because it's got this internal framework. So what I suggested was they make it slimmer and then add the frame to the outside of the clear part so that it slips around the outside. And then when you put the glue on the bottom edge, you're hiding the joint.
Yeah. What did they say?
He said, if it's not too late, he said, that's a brilliant idea. If it's not too late, we'll alter the tooling.
Yeah. So they listen. They do listen.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Meng, I gave him an example, the Meng ME163, the little Comet, the little rocket engine thing. They've done exactly the same on that. And it's an absolute nightmare. Because, even if you use clear glue, you've still got this bloody clear edge to deal with.
Yeah. But it looked all right though, didn't it? That 3D. Yeah.
The ram tape on that was perfect. Yeah, it was lovely. Really nice.
So we don't think how many Dr. Pepper tonight, Yeah, Celtic West here. Revell Classic kits have to be 9 years old. Very good. Very, very good. Solid there. Revell box art is very good, but a model with only a few years experience under their belt will be fooled into thinking that that's what they will get. Yeah.
Talking about boxes, one thing I do love about Revell, and I think you're probably all going to agree, the boxes are shit, but all these other companies, this one hasn't got it, all these other companies, they give you models on the side of the box. They show you a CAD model of the model. You'll have a CAD image of the cockpit. You'll have a CAD image of the undercarriage. That doesn't show you gaps, poor fit, ejection pin marks. It's showing you how it would look if it was perfect. But Revell always show the picture of the actual model painted, don't they? On the box.
On the box. Yeah, on the back here they do, don't they?
Even in the old days, 50 years ago, that's what they did.
It's the actual model of what you're getting. So if it's got a great big, thick, chunky headrest or something, you'll see it.
Yeah,
that's true.
One of the things I think as a counterpoint, like obviously we're all modelers.
Yeah.
We all we've either done the hobby for a while and we're good at it, or like me, where you've done the hobby for a while and you just accept it kind of what you are. Like my partner's not really done modeling at all. He's doing, can I see the box? Nope. A boat, a boat, can't remember which one it is. It was one that was in Lidl for like 15 quid. So it's like this biggish.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and went, oh my God, that is horrendous. But he's having a whale of a time, because I feel like for people who are newer to the hobby, if they get the right subject, a bad kit matters less, because they're not for everyone. Some people have unrealistic expectations, I guess. But I think if you have the right expectations going into it, it doesn't matter if it's a bad kit, if it's something you really want to do. Being a bit devil's advocate by saying this, because I know like it needs to be more transparent, and it does. But I think I just sort of sat here thinking, actually, yeah, my partner didn't really care that it's not a great kit because it's something he really wanted to do.
But that's the same argument then with the vintage classics, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a crap kit, but it could be something that you want to do. We've got a chap in our Scale Model Club who's bought that Bristol 192 Belvedere, not necessarily to build it from the box, but he has a 3D printed resin version of it, and he's going to then mix and match the parts between the two. You know, there are reasons, and also with the vintage classics, you will probably not see this boxed again for another 15 years.
Don't really want to, mate, to be honest.
I know that. I know. They're limited runs of old kits. And I was thinking the other day, there's kits out there, not necessarily Airfix, that you've not seen in 30, 40 years. Perhaps like, like a monogram kit or something. You know, you don't. I'll tell you what I've not seen is Gus's first capsule when he went up to space in Apollo 3, I think it was. That's never been retooled or never been boxed. It's not a very good kit, but there'd be somebody who would want that Gus Grissom.
I would love it. Is that the black one? Is that the black?
The black one.
Never knew Airfix did that.
I sold mine on an auction on here because it was still sealed. But they're a limited run, and it'd be nice to see some of them come back into a limited run sort of thing, whether it's a classic. But there's a reason why people buy them. It's because they remember it as their young, their days and their youth days. Like I said, all that bomb bug. I don't think you'll see that for another 10, 15 years.
No,
they've done the run, and that's it. Now it's a limited release, so they have their place in it. There's loads of kits I can think of.
I'd just like to say one thing to back up what Lexi's just said.
John Alec, do you remember?
Hang on, John.
Remember that?
John, wait a minute. Wait, John. Wait.
I just wanted to back up what Lexi was just saying. Yeah. Her partner is not a modeler and got this kit and thinks it's great. We look at it and think, oh God, I used to work with a guy who was a connoisseur of coffee, and he spent a lot of money on a kettle that he could set to boil at 98 degrees or 97.5. And I'm like, you're sick. And he's like, you build plastic models. Okay. That's what it is. I mean, he, pouring boiling water over coffee and burning the granules. Oh, having instant coffee, what's wrong with you? Whereas he'd look at that model boat that Lexi's talking about and think, it's a model, just glue it together and paint it.
Yeah.
It's like wine, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like anything. I mean, I remember talking to Alex Mann a couple of weeks ago about a kit that he'd done a review on, and I said the kit was terrible, but it had a place because it was £6. I wouldn't build it, but there's a lot of people out there that would.
Yeah. Like I said, somebody should, like this kit's here, somebody should make an RAF launch, the rescue launch, because that's the kit that we've not seen for a long time.
That's Revell, isn't it? Like the old one's Revell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still get them.
I think I've still got one upstairs. Well, I say in the attic. I think I've got one because I was going to do one, and then I just kept putting it off because I just hate doing boats.
Yeah.
What is a rescue launch?
Airfix did a rescue launch.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah.
If a pilot crashes, they would launch that boat and pick him up.
Yeah.
So I could post rescue vessel.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad kit. It
No.
was actually quite. It was a lot better than their MTB,
BRB.
which was terrible.
I wish they'd re-release their Land Rovers, the 48 scale ones.
What
Yeah,
Revell?
No, Airfix.
Airfix.
Yeah.
so do I.
I'd probably go and buy 10 of them. I love them.
You were talking earlier, Moss, about there are other companies that should do vintage classics.
Mm.
I was trying to show John Alex this thing because how long has it been since you've seen that?
The P36A monogram. Yeah.
I got one.
Yeah, you've got one.
Hasn't been tooled for 30 odd year.
Yeah. The RAF Rescue launch fetches big money now as well. Yeah, I've seen them on eBay.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Hello, Steve. Thanks for yesterday, mate. He was brilliant.
What was that? Sorry.
I just sent hello to Stephen Haynes. He was brilliant yesterday. He was running around trying to find you.
Yeah.
And then he'd have to come back and try and find me. And then he'd find me, and then you'd be gone.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I was over yesterday. I spent quite a bit of time. And then when he told me where you were, I thought, right, I'll go to the van now and grab the paint. So I'll go to the van, come back, and you had disappeared. And Steve was looking sweaty, going, "Oh no, I've just been over here. I think you just stay there. I'm going to work, mate." You know. So, but yeah,
He saw me by the Revell stand. He said, "Stay there.
Stay
Don't move. I'm going to find Moss."
It was really difficult. I think by the time I was eating my cheesy chips as well. I can't eat my cheesy chips. So there's a lot when there's a lot of kits that have not been seen, but if they did get released, people would buy them for nostalgia purposes. And I think that's what you've got to look at with Airfix. You know, about 4 years ago, Dale was on the Interesting Modelling Company, and they were talking about the Rotterdam. And Jonathan Mock then says, "Don't release that kit as a vintage. It's crap. Don't do it." And they still did, and they sold them because people wanted them. I bought mine and reviewed it, and then gave it away because I had an original one upstairs anyway. You know, I do buy them to review, but then if I've got the original, I tend to give the new box in away, because I don't need it. It's just there. Revell does not make high quality models, but they have their place according to German military stuff, cars, and even firefighting stuff. No other companies have, which is very, very true. And that's what we were saying. You know, there's not when we do a lot of these models, it's never a case of I'm going to build this because it's Airfix. It's I want to build this kit. Who does it? And then we go off and buy it because they're the only ones who do it. And then we build it and then swear at it because then we blame it. Oh, it's a Revell kit, or it's like that. It's the Tamiya Sea Harrier. You know, it keeps getting put out there. It's a cheap enough kit, but we know it's a bit of a dog. But it sells.
A bit.
Yeah, it is the worst Tamiya kit, isn't it? Or can you name another worst Tamiya kit?
I've never had a go at it. I must have a go at it.
They proper dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah.
I need to go, by the way, so see you later.
Nice. Right, thanks for jumping in, my friend.
Bye,
You
Dan.
take care. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Till next time.
Till next time. Take care.
And I think I said it on this channel ages ago. There is no such thing as an unbuildable kit.
There is.
There is.
There is. 92 Melbourne here. There you go. You've got it there.
What it comes down to is how much time, effort, and work you are willing to put in. And for most of us, I will get a kit and I'll go, you know what? I'm not that committed to it where I would put that time and effort and work into it. So therefore, I'm not going to build it because it's not a good kit.
Luke, let me give you a situation. I don't know if you saw my videos on it. That Mac 2 C10 I had, the 72nd scale one. It was.
No, I haven't seen them.
It's the worst model cut I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Okay. The plastic was like Kendall mint cake. There were parts missing. The shape was wrong. It had no engraved detail. It was absolutely disgusting. And when I got it, the tail plane halves, if you can imagine, you've got the wing cord, it's sort of like that, isn't it? So it's hollow in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
They were kind of flat. So I put something in the middle to space them out and then glued around the edges clamped them, left them, reshaped them and everything, engraved them, everything. Brilliant. I think James has probably seen the video, and then I came back to it like a week later, and they'd all changed shape. The plastic was moving after it went into the dust. I said, there's no way. I spent the great big thing on the top of the tail at the end. There's a big fuel tank in there. That was all misshapen. The mold was probably okay, but the plastic was just crap. And I rebuilt it all, and that all just bent, just bowed. James has seen the video, I think.
Yeah,
I'm really.
No, I did warn you about the Mac 2 kit.
Oh God, never again.
But to kind of counter that, the reason you put it in the bin is because you weren't willing to spend. It might have taken you 3 years to get that to a standard, but you didn't have time. You weren't willing to do it. What I'm saying is, I've done that loads of times. The last kit I did that to was Revell, actually. It was their 144 295, the strategic bomber, and it's terrible. However, if I'd have been willing to spend the time rescribing, reshaping it, and all that stuff that could be done, but I just couldn't be asked.
Yeah.
No, look, what I'm saying is the problem here was it was moving after I'd modified it.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to build
4 years on it.
tail. By the time I finish the fuselage, the tail's going to look like a lettuce. You know?
Yeah.
But I'd still stand by if you were willing to put 4 or 5 years into that kit.
But how could I if the plastic's moving? That's what I'm saying.
Well, of course, anything's achievable.
If you completely rebuild it and then you just don't buy the kit, you build one from scratch. So
yeah. But what I'm saying is, there's no kit that you cannot build. It's how much time and effort you're willing to put into it. And for most of us, me included, I'm not willing to put the amount of time and effort required into a kit like that. I'll go and buy a kit, you know, or whatever.
I'm going to give you a 3x2 bit of wood and a knife and say, whittle out the Spitfire in 5 years, mate. Carry on.
Yeah. Oh, I don't have the skill set. Do you know what I mean? But there are people out there that do.
Yeah.
You know,
but I don't have the skill set. Like when Nigel was doing the Titanic and was buggering about with all the panels, I haven't got that skill set. So to me, it wouldn't have worked for me, like, because I haven't, maybe over the 5 years I would have learned that skill set. Yeah. But
has the sprue glue gone off on that, Nige?
I doubt it.
And the same. So, for example, I keep going back to it. That Shannon lifeboat. So, what I'm planning on doing with that, there's zero requirement for anyone to do it in that way.
Yeah.
It's actually from 3 feet away. It's not going to look any different to someone that's built it out of the box. But it's that challenge, and it will probably take me 7-8 months because I'm going to try and do a full interior on it.
Have you started yet?
Yeah.
Have you fitted the windows?
Yeah.
You have? They're out like that, are they?
Yeah. But because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them in, because on the kit there's no frame detail, is there?
No, it's stupid design.
Look on the real thing, and if you look at reference pictures, they're either silver or black, aren't they? The window frames.
Got window wrappers.
I don't know how yet, but I'm going to try and scratch build those window frames. So when I glue those frames on top of the window and the hull, it should bring those windows in.
I'll give you a tip, Luke. What does work? If you take the windows.
Yeah.
You know, the windows are part of the windscreen as well.
Yeah.
Cut the side windows separate, and then you can just put them in and angle them where you want them. Then they don't spring out.
Yeah.
I saw Moss's yesterday. His is perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna cut them as individual windows anyway, because I'm gonna put the frame detail on.
Oh right.
So that will work probably.
Yeah. But there's. Sometimes I don't know.
But they're supposed to be sending me a new one. It's like
£18. What do you want?
Yeah.
If I'd spent 100 quid and it was made by Zukimura, then I'd be pissed off.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's what it is. It's about that. But somebody did say, why don't you send the kits back saying that they're shit? Well, who do you send them back to? You know, where it doesn't quite work like that, does it? You know, these manufacturers. This is what I'm saying. The newer stuff, they know it's going to go together because they probably built it again. But the old stuff they're retooling, they're reboxing. You know, it could have been made in 1960s, 1970s. So, you know, that's where you've got.
And it goes back to what Lexi was saying about a partner that's not a modeler, and he's got that Revell. It's either going to be the Victory or the Mayflower, isn't it? If it was
I will go find out.
But to him, like you were saying, Nigel, about the guy with the kettle, but to Lexi's partner, he's more than happy with that.
Yeah.
He'll glue it together. He'll paint it with a brush. Done. He's built a model.
Yeah.
So he's more than happy with that. Now, if that was someone sat here, what we're going to do is going to take that kit apart. We're going to start cutting individual clear parts out that should clip in, and we're going to start doing window frames, and we're just doing it in a different way. We're just approaching it in a different way. The same as the guy who's a coffee connoisseur. He's quite happy to spend 250, 300 quid on a kettle where he can set the temperature to the right temperature so it doesn't burn the ground beans that he's ground himself, etc. That it's just, firstly, it's down to people's, I don't want to say standard because there shouldn't be a standard in modeling. As long as you're enjoying what you're doing, it doesn't matter. But now I'm 11 years on from when I built my first model, because I didn't really do it as a child. If I think back to the models I built initially, now I wouldn't be happy with them. But at the time, I was chuffed to bits with what I'd done.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So things develop, don't they? If you start to take it a bit more. Did I ever think I'd have a studio like this that's behind me with thousands of pounds worth of equipment and kits in it? Absolutely not. I bought my first kit for 30 quid in Hobbycraft, and it came with the paints and glue. And that's exactly what I used. Mm-hmm. You know, so it just develops. And it is what it is, you know. Someone with that Shannon class, for example, if they're on holiday at a seaside town, they go into the RNLI shop because they want to contribute to the RNLI. They see that kit, it comes with a paint and glue. It will go together sort of to the point where they've got a representation of the lifeboat they've seen while they've been on holiday. They're more than happy with that. I'm not happy because I want an interior and I want some rope detail on the deck, and I want all this stuff. So I'm going to spend probably 50-60 pounds in bits to add to that kit. Mm-hmm. But most people, they'll go into the RNLI shop, they'll buy the kit for 20 quid, they've done their bit for the charity, they'll go home, they'll build it on a Sunday afternoon, they'll brush paint it, job done, and they're happy. So it doesn't matter, does it? Can
I just say, somebody commented just now, who was it? Oh, somebody commented this. They were going to buy the Shannon, but they decided not to after hearing this. Don't think like that.
Buy it.
Just like someone said earlier, you should send the kit back and tell them it's rubbish. I contacted Airfix. I sent them a photograph of the clear part sticking out, and they're sending me a new sprue.
Yeah.
And I would have made it work. The only reason I can't make it work is what I did. I actually tried to glue the windows in. The back one stayed in. The front two kept springing out. So I've messed my windows up. That's why I need a new sprue. Now I know what to do is cut the front separate to the sides. And then, but why on earth they didn't put a little tab on the bottom of those windows to stop them popping out, I shall never know.
Yeah.
Say, you know, there are issues with that Shannon lifeboat. Now, but they're workarounds. You know, this is what I'm trying to get at. You know, it's like me and Nigel, we've had a really good discussion about it because the locating tabs, for some reason, won't fit the cabin in, and then so what they should have done was what Nigel says, just do one big recess, and then bonk on top, or as James said, why don't you just have the locating lugs inside the cab, like lines, and then just plump it on, and that's it, job done.
Yeah.
So you've got locating points, and for some reason they don't go down flat, and you get like a little bit. And another guy I saw at Avon built the same as me, had the same issues, and he said I had to cut the tabs off to make it fit. And next time, what I'm going to do is, when he's doing another one, is cut the sides off, the tabs off the sides, and just leave the front one on and the back one. Then it will lock in. You know, that's a fair compromise.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to get at is that, and I'm open about this. When I looked, even when I saw it on the sprues, and I'll tell you another thing about the sprues as well. Interesting point. I think that it wasn't a starter set because I think it's a gift set. I think for the railings, even though they're one piece, they're not all one piece because the front railings are 3 pieces in one point, I think, or 2 at least.
Two pieces.
Yeah, 2 pieces front as well. When you've got the side, it's not like building, say, the F-35B where it's 2 together and then put the undercarriage on canopy and you paint it and you're done. It's a little bit more complex. You could say it's a starter set plus. So if you've built a couple of kits before, this is a good kit to get onto for detail and stuff.
That's what I've said in my videos, Moss.
Yeah. And also where the sprue gates are, there is a gap between the hull and the deck, and then you have to fill in that with either super glue and then clamp it shut. Those are the 2 issues we found. So to me, that doesn't make it a starter set because I'm having to use my skills to finish off the model.
If
I
built another one now,
yeah,
I would paint all the inside, fit all the glazing and everything, paint around the windows orange, which is what I've done. Then I would glue the cab to the floor, clamp it all together, and then fit the floor to the hull.
Yeah,
that would get rid of that fit issue at the back.
Yeah.
But when you come, I'm building the Gannet as well at the moment, and when you look at those 2 kits, it's like they've come from 2 completely different manufacturers. I mean, the sprues are a joke, aren't they? The way they're chucked in that bag.
There's a reason for that. I'll tell you in a minute.
This is just amazing. This Gannet, it's bloody what a kit. Beautiful. That's outlaw paints on there, Moss.
Yeah, looking good, mate. Looking good. But as I said, the reason they haven't got that outer sprue thing, who's disappeared? Is that Sully?
Sully.
I'll be back in a minute. They're missing the outer sprue, the gate guard, isn't it? Whatever they call it. The reason they've done that is that you can get it off the sprue easier by twisting. That's the idea why they've removed the outer edge, apparently, so that we get to make it easier. You don't actually need to use a knife. You can actually, but you still need a sanding stick to.
Not being funny, Mars.
Yeah.
I don't think you get the parts off for twisting for the mast.
No.
You wouldn't, would you?
No.
You have to cut them
because they are bloody great. About 1/4 of an inch sprue gates.
But the sprue gates are massive on that deck. That's why it's difficult to line it up.
I just don't understand who in their right mind thought, I know, we'll put a load of like 0.8 millimeter diameter railings and shafts and antenna on sprues that haven't got a protective frame around them, and we'll chuck them all in a bag together, and then we're going to put them into a box and let them rattle around. Guess what happens? They don't break, do they?
Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's years of experience, Chris. What I'm trying to get at is that if you didn't know that you would need a little bit of filler or a little bit of sprue glue or something, you'll be left with that gap. That's what I'm trying to say. For me, a starter set, it should go together without the need of filler. And you will need to make it look nice, that edge. You're going to need something to patch it up. And unless you've built a model or 2 before and understand these sort of things, that's where it comes from. So, but don't get me wrong, I have given out a couple of these starter sets to people that, want to build one.
Moss?
That's
a starter set.
Yeah, that BF 109.
109 F2. Whoops, I dropped the prop.
There you go. But then again, the F-35B to me was the best starter set they've ever done for EOS. It's a cracking little
Oh,
build. That. We've all built one, haven't we? We've all done that F-35B from FX.
You were going to send me one. You never did.
No, I didn't, because I didn't have one. That's why.
Oh, right.
I didn't have another one.
I would buy one, but I got that Spitfire to do because I want to do a starter set challenge and use only what's in the box.
So I figured I'd just share this because I didn't open mine because I've literally been away since I got it. So I've had this on my windowsill since I got it.
Yeah.
And the box has been like really, hold on. Let's just turn off the filter a sec because this is going to make people very sad. There we go. So this is completely split down the middle.
Oh no!
Oh no!
So this was absolutely hammered in delivery. When I got it, I thought it was like it had been stepped on, but I literally like
it has been stepped on by the looks of it.
To break that, it's stepped on.
That's the entire.
But then you think, why didn't the spindly little frames break? Why did the whole roof break?
I think it's because it's on the edge, and it looks like the edge has been crushed in. The rest of the box is fine.
Did you get it from Japan?
No, this is direct from FX.
Oh right.
Mine came
bubble
wrapped. Mine came bubble wrapped.
Mine was just the box was really messed up.
Wow, because mine came bubble wrapped inside the box. Actually,
I think
everything comes bubble wrapped in the box.
Lexi, I would before you go to Airfix, I would open it and check all the other parts.
Yeah.
Because there's some parts on there that you could break with finger pressure, let alone standing on it.
Honestly, everything else looks completely fine.
Even all the antenna and that.
Yeah, literally. Everything looks. There's nothing like rattling around otherwise.
Just check the mass, the long,
and the railings and all that,
and the glazing.
It's a later problem.
I bet if that's stuck, the glazing as well in that box. Is the glazing all right?
The glazing might be shattered.
Nope, glazing's completely fine as well.
Wow.
I just got very, very unlucky.
I think you did there, love. Yeah, definitely.
It happens. You can't control like delivery people, you can only do so much.
Well, when you applied to Airfix, I'd never had it before. This time they asked me for a photograph. They've never asked me for that before.
Oh, they've always asked me for a photograph. I've always sent a photograph of the part that's missing and the whatever code, that little sticker on the back.
Yes,
that one there, that sticker there. They always want that sticker, even though it means nothing. They want that, and then send it in. I've always had to do that, but that's why if I've had a problem, I just do that. Click a picture, click that, and because I buy from the FX website direct, and so every kit that gets released, I buy direct from the website.
Yeah.
I can just say, and it's order number A001005, all the numbers. And then they get an email saying, thanks for the information. The part's been sent out to you. Wait a few days. And it normally comes within 2 days. So
they told me 21 days.
Depends how much they've got any stock in it.
They might have to get the parts in from India, yeah.
Because they sold out so quick on that Shannon. They sold out so quick. I think if I'm right, this will be the third stocking of it. They've done really well. It's been an absolute, and then people have bought it. I'm going to say it's a fantastic, lovely little build. I enjoyed it, and the details just enough. So mine's in my van at the moment because I took it to the scale model show yesterday, and all my kits are still in
had
there.
it with muggy fingers.
Yeah, and everybody that walked past it says, how do you look? How does it look? Or and I say, how did it go together? And I tell them the truth, and I say I thoroughly enjoyed it. The railing's gone well, gluing it all together. The only two parts I had was having to fill in the gap there and put in that cab on, but the glass went in fine for me. The mast and everything, I did all that. So it all comes in 2 pieces. It looks complex, but it's only 2 pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas one of the photo was on the instructions. It tells you that railing. Well, we think it's a crane or something, don't we?
It's not. It's what it is. It's actually a hoist system.
Hoist.
So what happens if they're doing a rescue? What they can do is move that framework out to the side, and then they can use it as a hoist to get things out of the water.
Right. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the build. I'll tell you the best bit about my Moss is the fact that my hull was slightly warped. So it enabled me to make a tutorial about how to put together warped parts.
Yeah.
Mine was.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. Was it Simon that commented he's not going to buy one now? So
I think it was Simon.
I would say absolutely buy one, because you've got probably one of the best resources at your fingertips to get round any issues with that kit, because very shortly you're going to have some very in-depth build series on YouTube where people are going to show you, yes, there are a few little issues with the kit, like Nigel showing you how to sort the hull out, for example, if it's slightly warped, cutting off the cab. James is building it currently, cutting off the locating pit, all these workarounds. So that is an invaluable resource, so you can actually build the model you want to build, you know. So I would still buy it, definitely.
It's like I put off build. I want to now. I've got the outlaw paints and everything. I'm loving the orange and the blue and that. I'm tempted to have a go at the 7. Now behind me, fortunately, behind me was a guy who had built the lifeboat, the 7 lifeboat, and I said, "Is it a bitch to build?" He said, "The instructions." He said, "Do this for the hull. Don't do it because the instructions are very vague." He said, "Do the sides first, then do the stern, then put the keel on." He said, "Don't glue the sides to the keel." He said, "Because it won't go straight." Yeah. He said, "You want to do the sides because you're flat on the desk. Do the sides, put in the stern, and then put the keel on, and the rest of it is all right." He said.
I heard it was a dog. I'd love to build it to go next to that one.
Yeah,
it is a dog. It's a kit. As we were talking earlier, about 6 years ago, I put mine in the bin. But I will do it again now.
Is it because
I'm going to order one now?
Because in 5-6 years, I've learned a lot.
Yeah. But was it because the hull was out? Because you did the hull, then put the sides on, then the stern? Was there other things that was wrong with it?
It was everything, mate. It was everything. But I didn't have the skill set then to fix those problems.
Yeah.
It sounds like
attempting it now.
Yeah.
It might be a different experience.
Was that again, James?
It sounds exactly the same way as I was told to put the hull together for the rescue launch.
Yes.
Well, Luke, I've just ordered one on Amazon. Thank you, mate.
I bought
challenge accepted.
Yeah, I'm going to get mine down. So I've got one up there. Just as an aside, there's 2 places where you can put a light. So there's one right on the top of the mast, and there's one just under the mast. There's like a little thing just like. So I bought these. These go down to 3mm, self-adhesive, and they're like little clear droplets. So I whacked 2 of them on, and it actually makes it look. It really makes it pop. But they're self-adhesive. These are. So they're 6mm down to 3mm.
Are they nail art things?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So,
but what I want, I want 1 mil and 2 mil. But then again, I thought if it's 1 mil, you just dab it with a bit of Clear Magic, wouldn't you, from Deluxe Materials? But if there's a 2 mil one out there, that would be perfect. So there's a couple that I could use, but that's what I did. I banged them on. And also,
I'm actually toying with the idea currently, and I'll make a decision by the end of this week of that Shannon of actually lighting it.
You want Sonny to get that? He's pretty good at that.
If you look at the cab, at the front of the cab, there's those 2 little
lights at the top, isn't there?
They're actually lights on the real thing. Yeah. Then you've got the light on the map, and because I'm going to detail the interior, I could light the interior.
Have you noticed that on the back door, Luke, the 2 squares are windows? Yeah. Have you noticed as well down on the sides, the 2 little oval shaped cutouts?
Yeah.
Them out, yeah.
So
that boat is never going to look the same as one built out of the box 3 foot away.
They will with the lights off.
I'm gonna build that Shannon now. I'm gonna start getting called an Airfix fanboy.
That's right. Just like allegedly, if you just slag off the company somewhere, then you'll be all right. You're not getting classed as a fanboy anymore. On the flip side of that, somebody just said, "I wish they would do the Trent." I don't think they will, because firstly, the Shannon class is a relatively new boat, and after 25 years, they can they will service it to do another 25. So there's a 50-year life cycle for the Shannon. The Trent is coming to its end. I think. I don't think that they're not going to get any. I think the last Trent they bought was 2004. I don't think the time frame would be.
No, she showed on the tour that they had 7s in the workshop, didn't they?
Yeah, I think the Trent will. I think they'll be phased out.
Yeah.
But that Shannon class, it's just so purposeful. Do you know what I mean? You know and they've even. I love to go to because Supercats around the corner from me. I love to go to Supercat and see them produce the launch vehicle that they've got, because that'll be a good thing too. If somebody could 3D print, I think they're going to build it. Airfix aren't, but if somebody can do 3D print of the launch system that they've got.
There's probably somebody already working on it.
I bet there is, mate. So if you have one or you're doing it, I'll chuck you a couple of quid. Can you send me one for review and I'll build it for my Shannon? Is that all right?
Same here.
And also, the other thing is, though, is that if I was going to build another kit this year because I enjoyed it a lot, it will be that Shannon, because I did enjoy it. And to be fair, if somebody came up to me and said, you know, I'm really struggling with scale model, but what can I build that's, you know, as a mojo build, give them a Shannon.
Yeah. There's actually a question that's just gone in the chat box along those lines.
Where's that to? Which one? Steve T. Mini art one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to build, Steve?
Yeah. Do Shannon.
No, he tends to build armor.
If you're fairly new to the hobby and you've chosen a mini art interior kit, then they're fantastic. I love mini art.
I love mini art. I love them.
They're not the easiest of builds, and the plastic can be quite fragile. Generally, there's a lot of PE, particularly if you're doing an interior kit. So, like I was just saying a few minutes ago, with the 7 class lifeboat, when I attempted that 5 or 6 years ago, it just killed my mojo completely, because nothing went as it should. Now, I think I'll be all right. I think I'll be able to do it and do a decent enough job of it.
I had a analogy about mini art, right? I heard it the other way. I'm going to write an article on it. This is an analogy of like mini art. If you want to build scale modeling, don't build mini art, because it's like learning a language. You'd learn German or French because it's our letters. But if you wouldn't try and learn Urdu because it's all squiggles. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought it was a brilliant analogy. It was brilliant. Or Chinese, because you learn it.
If armor's your thing, and I'm guessing armor's your thing because it's a mini art kit, they don't do many aircraft.
Yeah.
If armor's your thing and 35th scale is the scale you want to build in, go and get me.
Yeah.
Because that will reinvigorate your mojo for the hobby.
Yeah.
Because to me, a 35th scale armor, even a 48 scale armor,
Steve, get one of these.
Get one of them. Or
My mojo's gone completely up the wall sometimes, mate.
Or if
is that a 148?
Yes. Yeah. Just going to say also, because he's actually written it before, which I did star it, so I was going to come on to it, but he's repeated it again. I get me like after breaking so many pieces and struggling so much with it. I'm so weary and close to quit the hobby. Has any kit ever made you feel like this? Many kits.
Only that Mac 2.
Yeah. And the Typhoon.
I think sometimes,
Good point.
I
Good point.
and I got into trouble for putting a comment about a year ago about this. Sometimes what can happen is, particularly when people are newer to the hobby, and they will see some of the fantastic work that is either on a competition table at Telford, Scale Model Challenge, the US Nationals, wherever it may be. And depending on your mindset when you look at these builds, it can put you off because you think you're never going to be able to achieve that level. If you approach it with a different mindset, every build you do, whether it's good one or a bad one, you're going to learn something. That's the first thing. You're going to learn something which you'll take into your next build. The second way to approach when you see all this stuff that's posted on social media, whether it be Instagram, YouTube, whatever, most YouTubers that are building the perfect model straight away, they might have had 3 or 4 goes at that kit before they published it. So bear that in mind.
Yeah.
Also, use it as inspiration. Don't use it as don't look at it and go, I'll never achieve that. I'll never get to that level. Use those fantastic examples of scale modeling as inspiration.
Yeah.
Because this hobby it's a lifelong journey. One of my biggest regrets is that I didn't find this hobby 20 years
ago. Or leaving it. We did it as you were a kid, and you leave it, and you come back now. It's like,
that's one of my biggest regrets, because my skill set now would be so much better if I'd have started building model kits 20 years before I did.
But
you never know everything. It's a constant learning journey, and if you approach it in that way, even the bad builds that you throw in the bin, you will still learn something. You'll still learn from those bad builds that you throw in the bin or throw out the window in frustration or whatever.
I'd like to give another piece of advice to newbies. Don't watch people like Plasmo or Scale Aircraft Modeler, is it? People that they'll do a full build of a Wingnut Wings kit in a 20-minute video. And you may look at that and think, I could do that. I'm building this here now, this little Fokker. I've done all the rigging now. This is the first Wingnut Wings kit I've ever built. It's like picking up a starter set again. I've broken it, I've damaged it, I've messed it up, I've put bits wrong. I spent, I think it was 6 hours putting the control cables on the back. There's 4 little control cables on the back that control the rudder and the elevators. 6 hours. So I just kept breaking them. So now I found out I'm using the wrong line. I'm using the wrong turnbuckles. So I've ordered all the right stuff there. So it's this learning curve, and you learn again. But you'll watch. Plasmo's done a build of this, and it took him about a 25-minute video. And you might think that looks nice. I'll go and get one of them. I've been modelling for 55 years, and this has literally done my head in. So, and I think Felix Stone.
Modeling isn't difficult. What catches all of us out, and it doesn't matter who you are, is sometimes we lose the patience to get those details right. And that's just a human thing. But I can guarantee, if you stick with it and you persevere, there's nothing that I do, there's nothing that Nigel does, there's nothing that anyone you see here that is unachievable. It's all down to experience, how much time you put into it, and how much you learn. And it's a journey. It's a journey. The worst thing you can do, as Nigel said, is for your second or third model, get a Wingnut Wings kit, because you've seen a 25-minute video that Plasmo's put out, and it looks fantastic. That might have taken Plasmo 8 months, but he's edited it in such a way that it's a 25-minute video.
Yeah, but that's what that's what YouTube wants. YouTube wants 30-minute videos.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
why channels like Nigel's very, very in depth, very detailed in how that kit's going together, the issues with it, how you work around. It's invaluable. It's invaluable. If you want to, you know, a quick video set to music while you're on your lunch break at work or whatever, Plasmo, Night Shift, Scale Model Hanger, those sorts of channels, absolutely brilliant. But if you want to learn, how to do this stuff, then channels like Nigel's are the channels to watch, right? Because they're going to teach you.
What I was going to say is that it's also, if you're new to scale modeling, don't spend more than 20 quid on any model kit. You know, mini art stuff's not cheap. You know, if you really want to build a tank, just for instance, I've just gone onto the website now. The Tamiya M41 Walker Bulldog, for me, is a fantastic starter for armor. And on the model workshop now, they've got them in for £10.50. £10.50 for 1/35th armor, you know, for a tank.
And it's Tamiya.
And it gets Tamiya, and it goes together lovely. It's like in my heart, when somebody asks me about what kit do I get, sometimes I think 172 can be a little bit too small, and I think maybe there's 148 might be a bit better for you. I've seen the size of your hands, for instance. You know, there's at the end of the day, if you're new to scale modeling. Just keep the same, you know, if a kit's going to be 40, 50 quid and it says photo etch included and yeah, you know, and resin and everything, walk away.
It's like,
you know,
it's like
one of the most, go on, Nigel.
I bought this yesterday. I've just done a review of it. It is absolutely stunning. It's got 3 sheets of photo etch, 3 sheets of decals, and 46 sprues. That is not for the faint-hearted. Go and build an F14 in 148 scale, and you can spend £70. Go and buy the Tamiya one.
Yeah,
that is a fantastic kit for a beginner.
And one of the most frustrating things, I think, and when you're new to the hobby, it's a very easy temptation to come to. You look at the shiny kit, the nice box art, the new release, you buy it. Get it on your bench, your kitchen table, or wherever you may be. And then you get to a certain stage, you haven't got the right tool to do what you need to do. You haven't got the right glue. You haven't got the... What my advice would always be, spend less on kit.
Yeah.
And spend that money on good quality tools.
Yeah.
Good quality glues. Good quality things that enable you to achieve the result you want to achieve with that particular kit.
Yeah.
Because someone can build that Walker Bulldog out the box with tube glue, paint it, done. It's an easy build. It goes together really well. Then you give that kit to Night Shift and watch what he does with it. But the reason he's able to do that is years of experience, and he's got the right tools.
And he's an uncle.
And he's an uncle. And the right and the right products and all that stuff to be able to do something really special with the same kit. That would be my advice. Spend the money on the things you need to do. It's like trying to play golf with a broom. Do you know what I mean? You're never going to get a hole in one, are you? But if you spend money on decent clubs and learn from a professional instructor and all that stuff, all of a sudden you're going to get better at golf. It's no different.
It's like I've always said, it's like this. I keep going back to this because I really want to build this. This is a 1/72 scale Sherman tank. It's got 159 pieces, so it's individual tracks. Okay, if you want to start into armor, buy one with tracks that are linked already. If you know what I mean, either rubber band or they're already molded. There's a lot that's already molded, and then the next time you want to build another tank, have a crack at doing the tracks, because you will balls up. The first time I did tracks, they ended up in the bin, and it's one of them. If you see like mini art, that is a real tough bird, isn't it? A mini art, and that's another thing. There's no rating system or level system on mini art kits. If you think about it, the only leveling system really is on Revell and Airfix skill level.
But Mosh, you're knocking them because you don't like them.
Yeah, that's
lots and lots of parts.
Yeah,
I think they're absolutely fantastic. I've got a few of them.
I love them.
I absolutely love mini art kits. I think they're absolutely fantastic. I mean, they're a bus. I must build that, actually, their London bus. Absolutely stunning.
Nigel, I think that's the kit that Steve T's got. I seem to remember him mentioning about it in
The omnibus.
Omnibus.
He's got the mini art bus.
Yeah.
And he's a beginner.
That's not an easy. No, that's not an easy kit.
I would build a mini art again. I would have a crack at a mini art again because John Alex is doing one at the moment, aren't you? You're doing mini art at the moment, aren't you, John?
Yeah, I'm doing the Panzer IV.
It's gonna be a
I mean, I like mini art. I'm careful when I start them. I know that they're going to be really high part count, but I enjoy them. The instructions are dense, right? They kind of bleed into each other, but I enjoy them.
I just think it's the photo etch. For all you wannabe panel beaters out there, they're great, but I don't like photo etch. Fuck them.
I love photo etch.
And that's the only reason, I think.
I'm a former panel beater, mate, so...
Yeah.
But again, with photo etch, so that's always been a bit of a nemesis of mine, really.
Yeah.
But going back to spend your money on the right tool to do the job, so now I've got the photo etch bending tool. I've got a mini soldering iron. I've watched lots of videos. A guy called Rob Reeve, who's on the Insanity Model podcast. Like, everything he does is, I'd say 60% is photo etch. He's building like working tool clamps on 48 scale armor from photo etch. So I've watched his stuff over the years and learned what tools is he using, what solder is he using, what glue is he using, and all of a sudden you start to learn. And if it goes wrong, you've learned something from it, because you won't make that mistake a second time.
It's like with photo etch. I had a guy asking me yesterday for some tips, and he was on about photo etch, and he said that the trouble is, he said you get it on and that's it. It's on there and that's it. It's stuck in place. So I took him to a stand and I said, "This is what you want, the VMS."
Yeah,
he said the biggest downside with this is it doesn't dry straight away, but the best thing about it is it doesn't dry straight away.
Yeah.
And if you need it to dry straight away because of whatever task you're doing, then you get some accelerator.
Yeah. Even then, if you notice, it doesn't dry straight away.
No, but it dries a lot quicker.
Yeah. So I use it now like Mr. Surface. I'll put it in a seam and then wipe it away with a cotton bud. It's absolutely fantastic.
On the wing roots of that Bearcat.
Yeah.
It works brilliantly.
It does shrink over time, but bear that in mind.
Yeah.
I used it on a fuselage seam, and a couple of days later I primed it and it sunk.
It's all about, again, the right tools to do the job, isn't it?
So I'm just laughing at his comment because I have that mini art bulldozer up in my loft. I have opened the box numerous times and closed it again. And I know it's true. It's true, but honestly, man, I've seen it built and it'll give you a TP in your pants. It is a really nice kit, that bulldog one. It's
gorgeous.
Can I just say something about Stian's bulldozer comment?
Yeah.
About 5 years ago, I bought a 35th scale Hobby Boss Panzer I, and it had an interior right the way through from the front pedals all the way back to the Maybach engine. All the guns were all included in it, and the tracks were individual links, and it intimidated the living hell out of me. And then I built it, and I thought, well, what was I afraid of?
Yeah. Sometimes you've got to show its boss as well.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to just, I mean, there was a bit of respect and everything, but the individual links on that kit made the kit.
Yeah.
Rubber tracks would have ruined it.
Yeah.
So, you've got the kit, open the box a couple of times, have a dabble with it.
Yeah.
You got a lot of love here tonight, Nige. I'm always learning things on Nigel's channel. I hate channels that build a kit anywhere from 5 minutes to 12 minutes. You miss any trouble that's in the kit, which is very true. But I'm one for that because YouTube like 20-minute videos, and so when you're trying to get one out and just show the snippets of how you've built it together, it's the form factor that people like watching, and and that's why we do it. And it's true, but then again, when you're honest like me and you do make a mistake, you do leave that bit in. But it's Nigel's channel brings me really back to the hobby and gives me so many tips to go on. So
thank you very much.
I think it's a process. Buy a starter set, build to a standard you're happy with, then study techniques and weathering, practice them, and then try them on the model. Yeah,
and like I always say, it doesn't matter. The end product is irrelevant. If you're enjoying the process, you're doing it right. Regardless of idiots like me that are going to scratch build an interior on a Shannon Life, you don't need to do that. As long as you're enjoying what you're doing it right. It doesn't matter. You're not building it for anyone else. It's if you're enjoying the process, we're getting it right. Simple as that.
The main issue with the Mini Art coal lorry. Was the coal lorry, was it?
Yeah.
It was. I broke so many parts and was very careful too, but they seem to break shockingly easy. I don't know. I don't really know what to say about that.
Steve, that handling small spindly parts is something you will only get with experience. I cannot do a video to show you how to handle small spindly parts. You will learn yourself.
Yeah.
It's the same as doing this rigging. It's the first time I've ever done rigging, and I've really struggled. And nobody can teach me they can show you what materials to use and what buy, but they can't show you how to do it.
Yeah. Jadland's probably out of stock of those pens. That's why they put the price up to $999.99, because it keeps the Google. They've got Google adverts running. That's what will keep the advert running, you see. So if you take it down, they may take a while for the advert to come back. That's why they're probably out of stock of them. But there's nothing new, those AK pens. Tammy's been doing those paint markers for years. I can see the use for them, but I use Posca pens when I need to anyway. I like the Posca pens.
I'm also not keen on AK Real Colors colours. They're not like, you go and look at their US interior green. It's more like bloody yellow zinc chromate.
Yeah. I was asked at the weekend why I hate AK. I don't necessarily hate them because of anything of their product and stuff. It's just a personal opinion of, we've never had an apology for their marketing of a certain thing. And I just felt back then that what they did was wrong. And so I didn't. But then this week, I am desperate for Easy Line. I've tried to buy Easy Line at model shows. And in the end, I picked up some AK thin stuff because I need something. £7.50. But
you should have said, Moss, I got loads I could send you.
But anyway, I've got it now. So
I could have wrapped around a pencil and stuff. I could have brought some yesterday.
Yeah, but like I say to people, I've not needed to buy AK because other people do the same products. And that's what you find, you will never, like I keep saying to people, you'll never stick to one brand of paint. You will probably find that there's certain colors that match better to other ones, and you'll stick with that. And so I've got Outlaw, but even on one of the builds, was it 2 months ago, I ended up using Tamiya because I didn't have that color that I needed. And I do trust the Tamiya LP range. It goes down well for me. So
the other thing I don't like about MIG ammo and AK, I think they're trying to rip people off. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but it's like you'll get grey wash for German ammo, grey wash for RAF aircraft, grey wash for engines, grey wash for Panzer Green, it's grey wash for God's sake.
Yeah.
And people out there think they need, because they're building a Lancaster, they need that grey wash, because the other grey wash they got is a different colour. It's grey wash.
Shed Jim, can you message me that review, because I like to see that review. If you've seen a review on it, send it to me. I like to see that. I've not seen many reviews on it, but as I said, when it comes to pen stuff, even on the Shannon, I use my Posca pens to highlight certain things. It does it. I've got 7 colors, and that's all I use. I've got a green, I've got a blue, I've got a brown, red, silver, a black, a white. I think that's it. That's what, I've got a yellow somewhere as well, but I have lost that because I was looking for it the other day. But yeah, it's one of them.
I saw one review of them. I watched about 5 minutes and turned it off because it was quite obviously he'd been given them. It was a sponsored video, and he was like, "These are the absolute awesome, best things ever." And I'm looking at it, and I can't remember what he was painting now, but it puts the paint on really heavy, and I didn't like it. It looked horrible to me.
Model kit stuff, right? I'll have a look at model kit stuff then, because he's pretty good with his reviews. I'll have a look at that when I go over there. I'll have a look at that. If it was him, I'll have a look. But yeah, it's gimmicky, you know, and you can't have a grey wash is a grey wash, you know. But that's what marketing does, isn't it? You know, that's marketing for you. My only thing is, I still would like somebody to come back to me and tell me if the Alclad have really, if people believe that Alclad have changed their recipe. Now it's been taken over by Mig Ammo. A lot of people have said to me it's not the same as it was.
I think they have. I think there's less pigment in it.
A lot of people, the way to do it is to smell it. Let me know what the smell is like, and then take it from there.
I'll do it right now.
Me too.
Have you got old and new there, have you?
Yep. That is aluminium.
Yeah. Still got the old set here, I think.
That's chrome. We've been here before. Look at it in there. Look at the pigment in there. Look how much pigment is at the bottom of that bottle.
And that's the what? Sorry, that's the silver or the
That's
chrome?
the aluminium. But look, there's less than a millimetre of pigment in there. In fact, the bottle is concave on the bottom. From the outside, it's concave. So obviously on the inside, it's convex.
Yeah.
And if I could tip it up slowly, you can see there's not even any pigment in the middle.
That's Alclad, right?
This is what's it called? This is the Mig Ammo stuff.
Okay.
You can see
Alclad is basically the same.
there's nothing.
That's ridiculous.
But the smell. The other thing I don't like about, we said this before, this bottle has got a square neck on it.
Yeah.
So when you pour it out, the pigment stays all down here. It doesn't come out. But I can shake that up, and it literally looks like I've just cleaned a silver paintbrush in some thinner. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I've got these ones. I think the mil-spec ones were before MIG, aren't they?
Yes, anything in that shaped bottle is pre-MIG.
Yeah. You know. But I did enjoy using these. I did. I thought they were, but you know, they took a while to harden though. They take a while, don't they?
Yeah.
That dark green was excellent.
They're not very tough either, the metal ones.
Yeah. But yeah, but the smells different then, are they, between between Mig Ammo's version and the old?
Here's one for you. I'll shake this bottle here. Look at the cap.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll shake this bottle here. A stand. Even harder. Clear.
Yeah.
There's a little silver ridge around it. That literally, I don't know if you can see that, but that literally looks like a bottle of thinner I've just cleaned a silver paintbrush in.
Bloody hell. That must be manufactured wrong then, surely.
Well, it said the transparent blue is quite nice. I used that on the Lamborghini exhaust.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the only one I've used is from A Stand, is the equivalent of what would have been Aquagloss, and that performs exactly the same.
I haven't got that. I've got Aquagloss.
You can also find Easy Line where they sell stuff for fly fishing, for making fly fishing flies. Oh,
don't, guys, stop using Easy Line. I've learned with this crap for rigging. I don't know if you can see it on here. I've painted these like steel. I don't know if you can see that.
Okay, yeah.
Easy Line isn't round, it's flat. So when you paint it, it's almost like a piece of ribbon, and you can see that it's like all like this. So I've now found out there's a company in Japan called Model Custom.
Yeah.
And they make it, and it's elasticated and it's round. The other trouble with Easy Line, it's made of lots of fibers. I found this out yesterday. When you put super glue on it, it will just go. It will just wrinkles up like a concertina.
Okay.
Because it's with like a bimetallic strip. The glue's pulling all the different bits about. Model Custom doesn't do it. So there you go.
Nigel, can you put that in the chat? Just what the name of it is, so that.
Yeah.
I think the AK one is round. I'm sure it is.
The Easy Line does go flat when you stretch it.
Easy Line's flat through a magnifier. It's flat all the time.
Oh, okay.
Which would be great for a 72nd RAF aircraft because their rigging was flat. But once you it looks awful.
Yeah. Let's have a look at that. Right. To be fair, British wires on the real thing were often flat too. So yeah.
I'll show you after, John. I've got a link here as well for the.
Okay, thank you.
If you try and buy it over here on eBay, it's like 40, 50 quid a roll.
Yeah.
I found the guy sent me a link for a place in Japan. It's $12.
Okay.
Well, it's like this bloody masking tape. I've found a supplier now who's going to supply it to me, but I'm still it's a lot of money. But I'm trying to get this in for the. I've had people testing it this week actually. One of my dear friends, Dave from the Model Club, he's done a complete going over with it, and he said, "Do you know what he said? For that it's very very good." He said it's on par better than the Tamiya stuff. So
I think it's more sticky.
Yeah, so it's he had no peel up or anything, so when he pulled it up from there's no peel up, and it seals really, really nicely. Yeah, is that the one I sent you?
Yes, you sent this to me. Thank you so much.
So
I really appreciate it.
But yeah,
I have yet to use it, but
I'm gonna try and get it on the Outlaw Paints website as our own airbrush masking. So he was very kind enough to do the whole review. He said, you get away with Tamiya, but yeah, it's a little bit cheaper, so I'm probably going to do 2 rows for $5. Do them at 2 rows.
I've been using Tamiya lately. I used to buy like 4 or 5 at a time.
Yeah,
I've got 6 millimeter. It's just not sticky.
Not sticky.
No, I've used your blue stuff. It's bloody brilliant.
Well, this one here.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's roughly between 11 and 12 mil wide, and I thought, that's not going to fit in the dispenser, but actually, we put it in, and it actually fits better because when you pull it, because it's actually touching the edges, it comes out dead straight, not like quiffed or anything. So it actually fits really well in a 10 mil dispenser, even though it's 11. I think it's about 11.5.
11.87.
Pardon?
11.87.
Yeah. So just something that fits into the Tamiya 10 mil dispenser. So yeah, I was quite pleased with that. Anyway, folks, it's that time. It's gotten to 10 o'clock, and we've got the after party. I think Sully will be back by then. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's been a real pleasure, been interesting. We've had some good chats about Revell. Keep it on their website, because I think that they're going to be releasing some good stuff next year. And hopefully you'll see Revell at your next model show, because they are going to be doing the circuit, I believe, to do all these things. So meet up with Luke, and I can't. Do you know what his associate was called that day, Nigel? I completely forgot his name.
I already spoke to him.
Did you? I spoke to him quite a bit. He's a good lad. And also, because one thing I will say, they do a decal sheet for the space shuttle now, and to the underneath with all the silicon tiles.
Oh, right.
It looks really good. They had the Moonraker there, because they've released the Moonraker for the James Bond, but they also put
or 144th.
One of my favorite Bond movies.
How big is it?
The 140. Is it 144?
About that big, or about that big?
It's about that big. About that big. Yeah, about the size of your face there. And they've done a decal sheet for it underneath, and it actually looked really, really good. And apparently they put the decal sheet for the normal space shuttles in there as well. So, keep an eye on that one, because I'll be buying. That's one I will buy, because I do want to build another space shuttle.
Every tile had a stencil on it. In
that kit was absolute utter crap.
Every tile.
Okay.
Maybe get the Dragon one and see if the decal sheet fits that.
Yeah, that might be a shout. But the decal sheet looks really good.
Oh shit.
Okay. I've got a one upstairs as well. I need to build at one point.
You've got an Airfix one, haven't you?
Pardon?
You got an Airfix one?
No, an Academy one.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, anyways, folks, thanks for watching, and we'll see you for episode 98. And also, one other thing, if you did the Roy Cross box art at the box art challenge, Can you send me all your pictures now? Because next week we're going to go through them and pick a winner. Okay? Is that all right? I will speak to you soon. Take care, everyone. And nice to see you all. Take care. And
Bye.
bye.
Bye.